we continue stabbing the base and main classes and enums of our mod as our initial state of our project until we get it into GitHub, and we will continue with Armor Materials and Datagen in this video. Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. Now in previous episode, we just wrote the base functionality of many of these classes, and we got ourselves into Mod Armor Materials. Now Mod Armor Materials is not a class, it's an enum. And we said that, hey, it's a class and the file is being generated. No worries, we can just change it to enum. It's an enum now, so I can say implements, and implements means that I want an enum interface, and that's called Armor Material. It's provided by Minecraft. Now I have another error. The error is that if I hit Alt Enter, it says implement methods. Hit Enter again without doing anything else, hit Enter. And you see that tons of methods are being added. No worries, that's exactly what we want. We will leave it empty and we will come back to this class later. And you see this semicolon on top? Don't delete it, we need it there. And you see that by changing this enum, the class to enum, now instead of looking at C word, we look at E word here, and it means that, hey, we are dealing with an enum. Moving forward, mod effects is a class. So Alt Insert constructor through assertion error. And then again, the same old trick. Let's do it like this. I will come back and copy this. Actually, I will copy the whole thing and come back and I will paste the whole thing. When you use copy paste, be really careful. Copy paste is the downfall of almost every programmer. I just changed this to effects. And remember, the static import just came in because I pasted. It now understands that, hey, I need this one. What I did is that I know that, hey, I need a constructor, I need a public static void register, I just need the logger.info, a static import, and I'm just changing this text. So use copy paste there. But again, when you do the copy paste, read your paste code line by line and see where you need to change stuff. As I said, copy paste is the ban of every programmer out there. Okay, mod commands. Mod commands is again one of those classes that needs a constructor and paste. So ascension error and then registering commands. We will leave it empty, but sure, we will come back to it and write our own commands later. Mod tool materials again is not a class, it's an enum. And the moment I save it, you see that mod tool materials shows an E instead of a C, so it's an enum. And it implements tool material from Minecraft program and implement methods, enter, leave it as it is, move forward. Mod blocks is really close to mod items, but a little bit more busy. So we need a constructor, that's it? No, we have things to do here. First, we want to have a private static that returns a block from Minecraft, register block. It accepts a string, name, and a block. This part is familiar, isn't it? We are registering something into Minecraft as it is. However, when it comes to block, you know that things are a little bit different, isn't it? Because blocks have two things: the block itself and then the item of the block that you can take in your hand and carry around, like a dirt. So when you break the dirt and you pick it up, it's not a block anymore, it's an item in your hand. That is when Minecraft automatically associates an item to a block without you registering any items by itself. So you just register your block, but Minecraft registers two things. One is a block, the second is an item. Is that so? Well, no. You have to register the item, but you won't register it in mod items. You want a way that do it automatically for you. And here is how we do it. When we are registering the block, register block item. And that's the method that we didn't implement yet. And this is a way professionals expand and write their own API and program. They stab things and then they start adding the methods one after another as they go forward. So we just want to register a block item with the name and the block. Okay. After that, we return the registry dot register. Here we say registries dot block. Okay. ID is identifier from reference with the name we sent in. The entry is block. So this part of the code is familiar to you. However, this part is not familiar because we didn't write the method. So we move on top, right where the code is red, hit Alt Enter, create the method in mod blocks. Now you notice two things happened. First, it wrote everything for us. Second, there are boxes showing around some parts of the code. Third, the void is being highlighted. What's going on here? Well, it knows the name of the method because we tell that, hey, we want a method with register block item name. Okay. It knows that we call this method from a private static register block, so it should be the same signature, public static. It knows that we are sending a string and a block into the method, so it wrote string and a block. However, it's not sure if we want to return a void or we want to keep the name and block parameter names or the type. So it puts a highlight around them and chooses the very first one he's not sure about and asks you, hey, do you want to change it? And you may notice that everything on the void word is selected. So yes, we want to change it. We want to return an item. If I hit enter, another enter, it will jump immediately to string. Hit enter, it goes to the name. Yes, enter, block, block. And now it writes the last piece of code. Because I said that it returns an item, now it adds a piece of code called return null, but we don't want to return null. We want to return registry.register. And again, here we are registering an item, isn't it? So registries.item, identifier with the name. However, the entry is an item, but we sent in a block. So I go to the new line, and here we need to convert that block to an item. Thankfully, we have a method for it. So we need a new item. So it's a block item. This is a class type that is provided by Minecraft itself. So if I go on block item, you see that it's net Minecraft item, block item. That's provided by Minecraft. We need to instantiate it, a new instance of this, because this is inheriting from item. So it's an item. Again, if you don't know what is inheritance, you can go back and watch my programming for beginners video series, because those are theory videos explaining everything, and you need that as the backbone in future. So block item is inheriting from item. By default, it is an item type. We are instantiating a new item class basically here. The constructor needs a block, so we sent in block. And settings. Now for settings, we don't have any settings for this item. We don't need to change anything like the hardness, the durability, nothing like that. So we just say new. IntelliSense tells us that, hey, you can use item.settings or fabric item settings. We need a new fabric item setting. What did happen here? We instantiate an instance of a new class. This will call the constructor. Remember these constructors that we were putting in there? If you notice, they don't have any return type. That's the signature of a constructor. Just the name, and the name matches the class. A public constructor without a return type, and inside it, some things will happen. This time, we say that, hey, we can't construct it. However, in here, we have a constructor, and that constructor have two parameters. The first parameter is a type of block, and the second parameter is the type of item settings. So we create a new class, sending in some information so that the class can be generated, and we get that class. And at the same time, we put the result as the last parameter for the registry. We could do this. We could say that, hey, a block item temp equals to new block item of block new fabric item settings. So we instantiate it and assign it to a variable, and here we would say temp, and it would work. That's the same thing, but we can just cut this and paste it here. Now, why do we do this? Why don't we assign it to a variable? Because we are not going to use that variable anywhere else. So why do we waste the memory there? If I had to do anything on that temp before registering it, yes, that is the place you may want to assign a temporary variable. You will see down the road, most of the time, we would put a dot here and we would call the methods on this guy and we would chain the commands one after another because that keeps the code smaller. It's not as readable as the previous case, but for professionals, that's the way to go. Save it. Now, what do we have here is that when we want to register a block, it will immediately register the block item by itself, and then we return the block. And that's the register block class. Mod block entities. Now, mod block entities again has two parts. One is a constructor and the second is just the register method. In the register method, we will do things, but for time being, we say block entities and we get out of it. Later down the road, this is exactly where we will register our block entities. Right now, we have tons of classes being added. However, we are not calling these register methods. They are all grayed out. And you see that the class name, the constructor, everything is grayed out because we are not accessing and calling these registers. Now, after that, we start calling these classes that we made. So mod items dot register. And this is causing every static variable that we will define in future being generated. Mod blocks dot register. The next one, mod item groups dot register. Mod commands dot register. Mod block entities dot register. Mod screen handlers dot register. Mod recipes dot register. Now, here is few things that we don't have, but I will add them. Mod word generation dot register, and then mod messages dot register C to SPAC, not S to C, C to SPAC. Mod effects dot register. That's it basically. So now mod word generation, something that we didn't have. What is that? Well, it is part of our Datagen. So right now, we almost finished stabbing and calling the methods. The only one that we are not calling is this S2C packet. Now remember, C2S stands for client to server. Because the receiving end is server, then we can register it for everyone. But when we say S2C means server to client. Because the receiving end is the client, we need to register it in the client side of the mod. And the client side is this. Remember, we stabbed it in the previous video, so it's there. On top of it, before anything else, we say mod messages dot register S2C packets. And that's it, basically. Now we are registering everything there, okay? However, we have something else here that we didn't stab in the previous episode, and that's mod model predicate provider register. Two things that we didn't have. One is this mod model predicate provider, and the next one is mod world generator. Time to attack these. So the first one, mod model predicate. I will add it as reference. So I will keep them all in one place. And this one has, for time being, a public static, actually a constructor. And inside the constructor, I have to copy this. We put the assertion. Now the register, it says registering model predicates. Okay? For timing, that's it. Now what is model predicates? You notice that when you have a bow in your hand and you pull the string, the model changes during the time. It's being pulled back and it bends. The shape of the item in your hand changes by conditions. That is predicate for you. So predicates are the model situations that change for an item based on situations. Now, predicate provider is a way to provide these predicates for an item. So here we say that, hey, this item should look like this or that based on something. And again, don't worry, we will come back to this and we will attack this. We will handle it later. You just know that, hey, this is related to models for items and changing the models based on situations. Now let's start with our data generators. So I will close this. I will close this because now it has the things. I will keep this one up. This one is closing, closing, closing. Okay, mod tags. As I said in previous video, we will come back to this one as the last class to add, and here is the time for it. Sorry, it didn't happen in previous video because it got long enough and I had to cut the recording. Now, mod tags actually are a way to assign a category of something to something. For example, think about planks. Wooden planks. You have different type of wooden planks like oak, acacia, birch, and others. All of these are wood planks. So when you want to write a recipe, you have two choices. Either add one item at a time and create different recipes per plank, or somehow categorize all of those planks under one name and say that, hey, we can use this as a category, use this category. Now you may notice that when you want to craft for example, crafting table, and you have a mod like REI, and you look at the recipes for a crafting table, you notice that the type of wood is changing in a cycle. Well, that's how tags work. Basically, the recipe is using a tag for planks. REI understands it, and it says that, okay, you are using a category of wood planks. I will cycle through that category showing one item at a time. So you will know that, hey, I can use this wood plank or that wood plank or this one, because all of them are type of wood planks, and these are tags for you. So these are not name tags that are in game. No, this is a way of we marking things in different categories. Now, of course, mod tags should fall inside different groups. So public, static. Here is what we call internal class, and that is called blocks. Public, static class items. Public, static class entities. Now, how we use an internal class? It's like this. If somewhere else we say mod tags dot, now you see these as classes. You see the C word, it means it's classes. So for example, we say blocks dot something, okay? However, as I said, I want to keep these mod tags inside the references. So I will cut it, I will come back down, I will paste it, and immediately I have to change this one to static, okay? Now, mod tags is an empty file, I can delete it. So how do I use it now? Well, for example, here, somewhere I can say reference, and remember we have our static reference, so we say mod tags, and it's reference.mod tags dot blocks, and when whatever inside the blocks will happen here. So we will have access to that no matter what. But this way I'm putting everything that is related as naming and string references inside the reference, because down the road you see that tags are bunch of tag keys, and those tag keys are just bunch of strings, okay? So here we will keep them all in one place under the reference and get done with it. Now finally, I can unpin this, close it. I don't need this, close it. And our job with mod items is almost finished. I will keep it for time being. Now, Wargen? Yeah. Time to attack Datagen. Now, what is Datagen? Because it's here, Datagen. And again, we are using tabs, so reformat the code. Datagen stands for data generators. Now, data generators are responsible of creating JSON files for you. Normally, without Datagen, back in old days when Minecraft started to using JSON files, you had to provide JSON files for different things. For example, if I come back here and go into assets, Minecraft, block states, open one of these JSON files. You see this, and I opened the worst case possible. So let's go with something interesting like a simple block. Can we have bedrock? No, again, it has rotations. I really want something simple. Can we have cobblestone, please? Thank you. This is the simplest JSON file possible. Now you look at this JSON, it has variants, matching curly braces, open and close, empty string, matching curly braces, model. This is the identifier for you. Namespace and address or the path, okay? So if you miss type a single character here, the curly braces don't match. The S at the end of variants is forgotten. E is not typed, or Minecraft is mistyped, or colon, or anything else. The mod will not work. Something will not work. Maybe a texture is not showing up, maybe your model is not showing up, or even sometimes the game crash. Writing all these JSON files by yourself, it's hell. And I'm telling you, don't look at these few. And yes, these are few, because later, if you look at the armors, they have trims, and trimming an item is like creating, I don't know, 10 different JSONs per armor piece, per material. So if you think about iron, gold, diamond, let's talk about just these three. Each one of them has leggings, boot, helmet, chest plate. So that's 12 items for you. Now each one of these items have 10 different JSONs, almost 10 I think. That would be 120 JSON files. Do you want to write them one after another yourself? Hell no. That is where data generators come in. Now, if you notice in the tasks, you have this Minecraft Datagen. That is running this uninitialized data generator inside your Datagen class. Here is where we will add different things into the data generator and ask data generator that, hey, please provide these JSON files for us. Of course, if you want to be a noob and write your own item, be my guest. Go into the models, items, open any one of these JSON files, copy it, put it inside the JSON. Things like every noob tutorial out there. However, you will sooner or later come back to Datagen. Why do we have to do it in a noob way? Okay, let's start with data generators. The very first things we want is just reference .logger, I love this guy, .info, and we call it generating data. Now remember, this one is not showing up at runtime for the game. It will show up when you are running the data generator. Okay, after that we say fabric data generator .pack. Okay, what is a pack? Read the Java doc, get used to it. It represents a pack of generated data. Providers are added to a pack. If you want to have a data generator provider, and providers are the things that create those JSON files, we need to add them to a pack. So we need to make a pack, and we call it pack equals to. We don't say new blah. We say fabric data generator. Remember, it's a parameter sent in to this uninitialized. Dot create pack for us. So we use this method to get an instance of a new object called pack under the class fabric data generator. Okay, and from here on it's easy. Pack.add provider. We want to add a provider. Factory. Now factory means a new instance of the class. Can we say new, for example, mod block tag provider? Well, there's a better way. Put two colons here, call new, and that's it. Provided we don't have this class yet, but we will add it. So instead of coming here to the end, hold shift, home, Control C, Control V, we just Control D, and it makes a new line for us. So this is item tag provider. The next one is mod loot table provider. Now we talked about tags for blocks and items, okay? What is a loot table? You know that when you kill a pig, it drops something. You know that when you go into a dungeon and you find a chest, when you open it, there are things in it. You know that when you break a dirt block, it drops a dirt item. In these cases, the meat that is dropped by pig, the item of dirt, and everything that you see inside the chest in dungeons are loots, okay? And loot table is responsible of creating these loots for you. Without a loot table for dirt block, if you break the dirt block, it will be gone, but you won't get that dirt item. And here's a funny part. If you want to remove the ability to get a dirt block by breaking it, just modify this loot table, remove the dirt, put it as air, get done with it. So if player breaks the dirt, he won't get anything. And this is a nice way of tweaking the core mechanics for those who want to implement their own mechanics. For example, what if I want to make dirt by putting a cobblestone inside a, I don't know, cipher and put water on it, and by time it will convert to dirt. That's an idea for you. For sky blocks maybe. That can be doable. You just modify the loot table, the dirt is gone, and this is the new recipe type and mechanics for the game, and you have to write all of that yourself, but hey, it's doable. And by just changing the loot table. On the other hand, if you are adding a new block to the game, you have to provide a loot table for that block so that when you break the block, it will drop the item. So this class is responsible of making JSONs for those loot tables. And God, loot tables are hell if you look at them. Let's see. So it's inside assets Minecraft. No, it's not inside assets where I'm looking. It's inside data, Minecraft, loot tables. And in here, for example, blocks. Any simple block you choose. Let's go with a cake. These are the easy ones, okay? However, there are things that are getting more complex. And it goes on and gets more and more complex because on loot table, you can have chances for dropping. For example, if I can find it, yeah, here we go. A coal ore. When you break a coal block as an ore, you start rolling a dice and getting chances of, you see, rolls one time, and you get chances on how many coals should drop. The minimum is 1. There's no maximum for it, I think, or it should be. No, there's no maximum here, okay? But it provides a way to roll the dice and get the item so it has a maximum there. However, things are getting more and more complex. So do you want to write that JSON by yourself? No, we can provide a loot table using the data generator, using a much more readable and manageable thing called Java. So duplicate. The next one is recipe provider. Again, responsible of creating JSON files for recipes. World generator provider. So world generator, because this one has internal providers, everything, and you will see down the road biomes and more, okay? Outside of this uninitialize, we call build registry, and you see that it's a method. So we are overriding a build registry dot add registry. Now I said whenever you have something like this, look for plurals. We want to have a registry, and here needs a key. So, and you see that on top it says registry key. So we have registry keys dot configured feature, comma. Now it adds a bootstrap function. In this case, we say mod configured features colon bootstrap, and it will yell at us because first of all, we don't have the class mod configured features, and then inside of it we need to have a method called bootstrap. And the second one is placed features. Now what are these two? These two are responsible of generating things in Word like ores and later down the road you will see that, for example, grass is using the placed features and configured features. So whenever you want to put something in the work, you will have two things: a configured feature for that and a placed feature for that. And without these two, it won't show up in the work automatically. Time to add lots of classes, isn't it? Now this video is long enough, so I will stop the recording here and I will come back in the next video and finish the data generator classes and their functionality, so that finally we can upload this as the initial commit into the Git. And down the road you can use the internals of these classes and that initial commit as a starting point for any other mod that you want to generate without any problem. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and turn on that bell so that when I publish a new video, you will get informed. Have fun everyone. Bye.